Welcome to my channel, shavers and shavettes. I hope you are all doing well. Great timing for me today, being able to do a video where I just talk in the video instead of recording. We'll get to that as we go. But let's talk about the shave. So for today, using a Simpson Commodore. I really love the Simpsons. They were one of my first nice brushes. They have changed over the years. I'm not going to get into the arguments that one's better than the other. I think they're still very nice. For my soap, using Holy Caw, I think that's Cypher Rose Concerto. You know by now I don't pronounce things. And for the razor today, using a bit of a Franken razor, using a Mühle R41 head with a stainless steel handle from Italian Barber. I just felt like using a little bit of a heavier handle today. I've got the regular Mühle one there. And for the blade, a nice Bolzano, which, oddly enough, is a German-made blade. Anyway, let's get into it. All right. So I dipped my brush into the water. I do start with a pretty dry brush, and I load pretty heavy, at least I think so. I obviously don't go around to other people's house watching them shave, so I don't know how other people load, except for what we see on the videos, of course. But to me, and if you saw my video about why or how I started wet shaving, it's never really been about saving money for me, which I understand the concept of, you know, using as little product as possible to save money, make it extend longer. I don't think it's wasteful to load heavy. I would much rather have a good shave with great results than to save a couple of cents per shave on shave soap, which you use so little of it anyway. There's a lot of people online that have calculated the cost per shave, and it's affordable. We'll put it that way for most people, even if you're loading very heavy and using very expensive soaps. So there we go. I've got that loaded. Again, my technique, start with a very dry brush. I just dip and add water as I feel like I'm not dissolving any more soap into the mix. Start with a paste, just basically smooth it onto my face, and then start adding water to build the actual proper lather. And this is the only soap from Holy Caw that I have, but I really, really like it. The scent is very clean, very natural, and performance, of course, is outstanding. I don't remember what the price is of the Holy Caws kind of compared to other soaps in general. I think if I'm remembering off the top of my head, they're a little more expensive than average, but again, you use so little, even me loading very heavy, that it is quite economical. And a little more water, I think. When I'm adding water, each soap is going to perform different. Each soap is going to have its own properties. Each style of soap is even going to have its own properties. Between different soft soaps will act similar, different hard soaps will act similar. But then, of course, they'll all be unique to some extent. But I'm looking for a nice shine to start coming up out of the lather. But most importantly, I'm feeling the brush, the hairs of the brush as it slides against my face. I'm feeling for that lubrication. I'm feeling for how slick the soap is. With each soap acting a little bit different from the next, if you strictly go by how shiny your soap is, you may not be getting the best out of every soap or cream. So I go by feel more than shine. The shine is obviously pretty obvious. My light tipped over. but I'm feeling to make sure that the lubrication is getting nice and where I want it. And I think I am happy with that. So let me clean up just a little bit. One of the downsides about loading heavy is you got lather going everywhere. All right. And we will get into this. So this head of the razor obviously is the original R41. And that's about the angle that I use on it. From the sounds of it, they got feedback that people were saying they're a little too aggressive and made kind of a second generation of R41 that is a little more mild. I've never used it, so I can't compare. But I think this first one is really nice for me. I do tend to like a little more aggressive razor, just personal preference. And I have no idea how tough my whiskers are compared to other people, so that's pointless to talk about. There we go. So good timing for this. I get very little time to be able to actually speak in a video. I have a special needs 5-year-old, which generally there's a lot of noise going on in the house, which doesn't bother me. But some of these noises for somebody who doesn't live in the house may not sound like normal noises. And I don't want to cause anybody any concern. I know what noises are normal. I know what noises need my attention. And I don't want anybody being worried about what's going on. There we go. So first pass done, getting the second one going. And that would be, just to be clear, that I read a lot of stories about people being upset. Somebody called the police because they heard my kid screaming and thought he was in trouble. Good. I don't care what's normal to me. If it doesn't sound like something that should be happening to anybody else, let somebody know. If there's a kid that you think is in trouble, don't just sit there assuming that maybe that's just the normal for that kid. Make sure somebody is aware and provides help if it's needed. And starting pass 2 here. So the PC's also been acting up even more lately. I was hoping to avoid taking it apart, but I'm going to have to do it. Something's going on with at least one of the fans. So that's why we've got a phone video going here today. It's just no longer practical whatsoever to use my current PC for editing. That's all right. I've got my last handful of components. Well, I'm in line to get my last handful of components, we'll put it that way. Definitely not a convenient time for anything technology. I think that's a good second pass. So hopefully I'll start to get the last group of stuff I need for the new build and get PC running again. I did experiment a little bit with the video on the phone, and I think it's going to be okay. Audio, I still don't think is going to be great. I did lay a few towels out on the sink, so I'm not clanging around on the porcelain. So hopefully the audio is not going to be too jarring. There we go. And I've got this spread out in habit I've had for years. My last pass, just give a real gentle squeeze to get that little bit of lather out of the brush. Might as well use it, right? I made it. You don't need a thick lather. You don't need something mounded up off of your skin. So it doesn't have anything to do with adding more protection or more lubrication, anything like that. I have it. I might as well use it. And then also, as I'm applying that last little glob of lather, I can feel with my fingertips if there's anywhere that I missed, anywhere that needs a little more attention. For me, right here and right here are always the worst spots. I think my skin has a little kind of divot, a little dimple in those areas that make it difficult for the blade to cut all the way, or at least all the way that I want it to cut. And then right on the sides of my neck too, my hair grows the angle is very close to the skin, which I think makes it a little tricky. I've said in a few videos before, maybe not videos, maybe it was posts online, that there's some really interesting research papers on shaving that you can find if you do a little searching, and having that really shallow angle is apparently something that even cartridge manufacturers struggle with. What's the right angle to where we can satisfy the people that have that very shallow angle, but also not make it too aggressive for everyone else? But again, I'm only working with one face, so I have no idea if I'm on anything. And with my last pass, I'm trying to go as much against the grain as possible. Just due to the direction it grows, that's not completely possible everywhere. R41s have a great sound. I hope that's coming through. And again, on sides of my face, I'm going as close to as against the grain as possible. I'll roll the blade a little bit across the jawline. And I'm gripping the razor very lightly. I'm holding it more like at a pivot point. That's, for me, the way it works very nicely. If you have a different grip that works for you, then keep doing it. And again, on the lip, really difficult to get against the grain, but as close as I can. I'm not worried about making sure that fresh lather is on my face because of that lubrication. With pretty much all soaps, you're left with a little bit of lubrication, at least for a little bit of time. After you've shaved, it does, again, with most soaps, start to get a little sticky as it dries. So as long as you've got that lubrication, you should be good, or at least as long as I have the lubrication, I'm good. Insert joke there. And just finishing up under the nose. Last little check for stray areas that I may have missed. All right. Go ahead and get a little rinse going. And there we go. There we go. And I think I'm looking good. Yeah, very nice shave. As always, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Everyone has busy lifestyles these days, and I really appreciate that you take a few minutes out of your day to hang out with me here in the channel and watch my silly stuff and listen to my ramblings. That does mean a lot to me, and I really appreciate it. So a huge thank you to everyone watching, everyone leaving comments. It's very much appreciated, and yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.